It's a pleasure to be speaking to Kevin again.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Kevin, what I thought we'd look at is this beef between Canada and Saudi Arabia, which started with the tweet.
By the Canadian Foreign Minister.
By the Canadian Foreign Minister expressing some sympathy with a Canadian dual national.
Yes, who was incarcerated.
Yes. Now, I thought to myself, this shows us the intersection of politics and economics.
Correct.
And there was quite a sort of dramatic toing and froing.
Yes.
Now, tell us what's been happening in the Canadian currency, because I saw Zero Hedge yesterday said the Saudis said cut Canadian positions at any price.
At any price. It started off with a tweet. The Saudi foreign minister said no, you cannot be deemed to be interfering with. And on Monday morning, markets reacted. Two things came into play. One, there was talk that the Saudi Central Bank and the State Pension Fund instructed all overseas asset managers to close out the entire Canadian dollar positions. Anything in Canadian dollar assets, both forex and equities. Now, 10% of Canadia's daily FX volumes are attributable from the Middle East.
It's not as much as that.
As much as that. So it's not very clear how much Saudi contribute to that, but of course, with their large sovereign funds in there, it must be a big problem. We saw the Canadian dollar dip 0.5%.
Yes, on that announcement.
On that announcement.
Yes.
And there seems to be further escalation. They suspended Saudi Airlines from going to Toronto. They asked all the students to relocate from Canadian schools to look for other schools.
Yes.
So it's now seeming to be escalating, and the Saudi foreign minister is on record as saying that there's no need for mediation. Canada needs to do what it needs to do, which is to apologize.
But I was thinking, if Justin Trudeau ever apologized, it would be political suicide.
It would be.
What is he apologizing for?
What is he apologizing for? Because all these years in previous regimes, there's always been criticism around Saudi internal affairs.
Yes.
So what is it? I think Salman, for the last 3 years, has been up to pushing his foreign policy presence. And I think this is a sign of force that this is where we want to go. I saw a comment from as well as the Russian minister, who also said that they support what Saudi is doing, that nobody should interfere with internal matters. So it could take a more geopolitical angle. Saudi has beef already with Germany. They stopped all government contracts to German companies. So you can starting to see that Saudi is starting to show their flex. I don't know whether they are that strong to push that through, but from what's happening.
So what's happening? And this is a weekly chart.
This is a weekly chart.
So we were actually much weaker at one time. This is April last year. Into July. There was a huge rally then.
There was a huge rally. Very, very positive on that. Canadian is probably more considered dollar weakness. This is when we saw a lot of across all the majors where we saw dollar weakness, but we've seen that recovery, and then now we've seen that. So you can see that move.
Yes.
You can see that drop.
Okay.
That's a drop.
That was the drop.
That was a drop on the news. That
so was this a spike that went up there, and then it's now recovered a little bit?
Exactly. This was when Trump had the beef with Trudeau.
Oh, okay, on the NAFTA.
On the NAFTA issue,
yes.
Okay, and then the market pulled back up on Monday as well.
So what do you think is going to happen here? And
I think couple of issues beyond Saudi. You've got the concern of the NAFTA trade and see what that plays. I think there's still a bit of downside. When I just look at the graph, I think we could see probably maybe a support level at 129.83 thereabouts.
Yes. So you think it's a little bit overblown?
It's a bit overblown, yeah. I think it's good. I think it's
knee-jerk type of reaction.
Sort of knee-jerk type of reaction. And I think, as with always, some diplomatic intervention will come. Probably you will see US getting involved because MBS is good friends with Trump, so probably you will see some sort of intervention there from the US as well. It's interesting to see how that plays out.
Because it's quite a popular currency to trade.
It is. I think also what you need to be cognizant of is I was just looking at also oil.
Yes. The
Everybody knows the
correlation.
Loonie is a commodity currency, so it's possible that also that could come into play as well. I think oil is at 7-week lows as well.
So
I
that
think
would put pressure
that
on
would
the
probably
Canadian.
put pressure as well on that. So it's something to look out for as well.
Can I jump back to yesterday's conversation where you were very bullish,
Bullish,
dollar Turkish?
dollar
Why don't
Turkish
you show
lira.
us and tell us a little bit about what's happened? Yesterday, I think we're around just below
520, just
520. You were saying this was a buy.
This is a buy opportunity. So it's back again to all-time lows, above 5.4.
Yeah.
This is a major gap. This
Yes.
is a really big gap. You know, one of the things that needs to be looked at on the Lira is it's August. Lira has very low liquidity at this time point.
Is that right?
So any move is exacerbated. So I would see some sort of recovery, maybe to about 538, but there's still a lot of pressure on
Yes.
this currency. There's a lot of pressure.
You were
And
talking 570.
570. I still think 570 is on the cards as well.
Yes.
And you can see, I mean, for the technical gurus, you're seeing breakouts above the Bollinger Bands.
Yes.
So it's
That for technical gurus, when that happens,
when that happens, you'd expect a correction a bit. So you've seen the breakout here, the breakout here. It's already broken out. So I expect a bit of a correction. But medium-term, long-term buyers, I still think there's an opportunity for a long.
we've seen a lot of pressure on emerging market currencies
Yes.
since about April, I think.
Correct.
And is that trend, do you think, something that's going to continue?
Yes, I think.
Dollar strength?
I think we're in store for a lot more weakness on EM. The numbers are not stacking up in my view. I think there's been a correction and it needs to happen. Hopefully the yields don't affect us because any foreign currency denominated on EM markets is going to be a real problem going forward. So let's see how that plays out. Super, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a real pleasure.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.